forsaken booth. The truth is you sadly mistaken. Proof I'm better than.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. So, let us discuss Kevin Owens re-signing with WWE. So, it has been announced that Kevin Owens is re-signing with WWE, and I was looking forward to him leaving. You know, if you are a long-time listener to this channel, you know Bubba Ray Owens, King Kong Owens, Bam Bam Owens. I am not a fan of Kevin Owens. He's just one of those indie guys that felt like he was blown out of proportion to me. Not saying that he's a untalented hack or something like that. He has talent. I think he has good verbal skills. I think he has good matches. But he's just good. He's not one of the best ever. He's not anybody to get super excited about. I was never over the moon for him. You know, there was a couple of points in time where I thought he was very good. You know, I thought he was very good during his NXT run when he was this almost bloodthirsty prize fighter. I thought that was very good. And I thought the Festival of Friendship and all that stuff was very good. When he turned on Chris Jericho, I thought that was good. But I'm not a huge fan of Kevin Owens. So I'm kind of disappointed that he's not leaving. You know, I was looking forward to him going. My issue with all this is that now that WWE has, you know, opened up the pocketbook to give Kevin Owens a pretty secure job, that they're going to try to recoup that money. And the best way to recoup that money is to put the belt on him. And you know what? I am not happy about that. I ain't happy about that at all. I may have to do a Mongo Tears segment. I'm going to literally cry. I would probably have to go to Titan Tower myself on a red eye and picket outside and yell at Nick Khan because Vince is obviously not listening. If Vince McMahon decides to put the belt on Kevin Owens, we need to start talking to Nick Khan. Okay, we need to stop talking to Vince. Start talking to Nick Khan, because he's the only one can save us at that point. He got The Rock's phone number. Threaten him like, hey, look, you need to call The Rock. Who needs to call Vince and tell him that Kevin Owens thing is not a good idea? It ain't a good idea. Change his mind. Change his medications or something. You know, don't tell him when the show starts or something like that. But there have been people who have said some absolutely outrageous things. Now, usually I would go through and I would read random comments that people make about Kevin Owens. And in this instance, though, I think there are some statements that were made that I think are far more pointed, and to be quite honest, I think are far more disturbing. There's truly disturbing comments being made about Kevin Owens. Here's what one of these guys said. Sure, Kevin may have squandered the final few years of his career playing 2021 Brooklyn Brawler for a company run by a dying lunatic, but at least he can go to Disneyland 60 times a year instead of 55. And then somebody responded, I hope one of the rides crushes half of his family. Like, I understand being disappointed that, you know, you didn't get what you wanted, but you wish that half of his family, like his family involves children. Like, I might not like him as a wrestler, but I don't want his kids to die. I don't want his wife to die. Like, what kind of fan are you? What kind of lunatic? Vince McMahon's a lunatic? And you're the people who want half of his family to die because he signed a contract that you didn't want him to sign? What the f is wrong with these people? Like, they need to be institutionalized. You need some Haldol. So somebody else responded, let's be real. Owens was nothing more than a fat piece of shit who wrestles in basketball clothes. He made his bed and laid in it. When that company feeds him to Roman Reigns or somebody again, I won't be crying or feeling sympathy for him. I wanted Mount Rushmore. I mean, this sounds like a temper tantrum by a 3-year-old. Like, you just stomping. I wanted Mount Rushmore. You need to give me Mount Rushmore. Is he entitled to go wrestle for AEW because it would impress you because you would like it? No. No, that makes no sense. You're not entitled to this man's time. You're not entitled to anything. Look, I know that sometimes wrestling fans get a little too, they get a little too into it. There's a little too much buy-in. But you have to, at some point, have some decorum. You can't go around acting like this. You acting like you need help. It's quite embarrassing, if we're being honest. Adults don't act this way. Adults do not act this way. So here's what somebody else said. Thank God, keep his fat ass away from AEW. Wow. Now he's a fat ass. Somebody else said, what a sad day. Kevin Steen has likely retired from professional wrestling forever since he left in 2014. This is why we call them cultists. Apparently, he retired from pro wrestling despite the fact that he works in the biggest pro wrestling promotion in the history of planet Earth. Makes absolutely no sense. And these people continue to breathe air. And you know what? Maybe that's uncalled for too. There's something that I think is kind of underrated when we discussing this whole Kevin Owens re-signing thing. And that is that something that Jay Lethal said, that he signed with AEW. He opted out of the last couple of weeks of his ROH deal because he wanted to beat the mad rush of a bunch of people about to be on the market. If you're Kevin Owens and you're in conversation with the Young Bucks, and look, they can't technically make you an offer, but you're talking to your friends about their business. And nobody will know that you were talking to them about business. You're having lunch with your buddies, and you just happen to say, what's the market looking like for, an independent contractor like myself? And they give you the general idea of what they're paying guys or whatever. And you're like, well, look, here's what, this is the scale over at the E. This is what they're doing. And they're like, well, look, there's a lot of guys that's about to be on the market because, Ring of Honor is going under. So there's about to be a ton of guys that are going to be free agents. Some of them are going to be younger than you. Some of them are going to be hotter on the independents than you. Maybe. We definitely can get you in, but we don't know if we can get you that kind of money. If it was 6 months ago and nobody knew Ring of Honor was going out of business, then maybe. Maybe we'll hook you up with a gigantic check, but it's, 2022. At that point, Ring of Honor would have ceased operations, at least temporarily. There's going to be a lot of people looking for jobs. That means it's going to affect the market for wrestlers. So people are not going to be able to make as much money because, again, there are far more wrestlers out of work than there are places for them to work. That's something to take into account of why he would re-sign, because he's probably looking at the market, seeing that there's a bunch of guys out there, some of whom are younger than he is. And he's like, if I jump ship now, go to AEW, sure, I might be able to get a good money deal. Maybe. But then what? They sign a bunch of guys from Ring of Honor, or a bunch of guys from Ring of Honor outbid me because I want X for my services. They can come in and say, well, I'll do it for Y, and it's cheaper. And people are just going to be like, you know what? Fans would be just as happy with Gresham or Brody King or Kenny King or whoever. They'd be just as happy with them as they would be with Kevin Steen. So we'll just take them. We could probably make a grip bringing Roosh in, for the Hispanic market, or Bandito or something like that. And then there's tons of free agents out there. The market is thick. And Kevin Owens likely, and you know what? I know that the tease is probably what bothered people more than anything, is that he teased the whole Mount Rushmore thing. But the tease is a negotiating tactic. He knows that AEW exists. Vince McMahon knows that AEW exists. He's got to have these conversations with the Young Bucks and with Adam Cole and with these guys. Because if he doesn't, he's a fucking idiot. He's got to be talking to them, at least to drive the cost up. And His buddies, his friends who probably really wanted him to come work with them, even they probably respect this decision and probably say, you know what? It might be better for you if you stay there because they can pay you more money than we can. Fans are lunatics, though. They don't understand that there are more decisions that goes into this. Listen to what this fan said. What a horrible decision career-wise. I hope big sacks of money are worth the creative frustration. How do you know he's frustrated creatively? Have you talked to him? Do you have his phone number? Are you his pen pal? How the hell do you know? Somebody burned him, though. Burned this guy pretty good. Yes, poor guy won't be able to show us his creative genius against Daniel Garcia on Rampage. Oh, that's a good one. That was a good burn. It says, somebody says, hopefully people will realize that wrestlers aren't their toys. All that fantasy booking shit doesn't matter when a man is looking out for his own happiness and his family. Fans shouldn't be entitled to a wrestler's personal decisions. That is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. That's true. I like that. I mean, look at stuff like this. This guy says, I guess he's more interested in money than in being a creative artist and entertainer. That's his choice to make, and I understand it. The man has a family to support. Good for him. It's like, do you think artists work for free? Artists don't work for free. No, they don't. The starving artist meme is just a meme. If you cannot pay bills on your art, you get a real job, And this is not an issue that AEW couldn't have paid him. Of course they could have paid him. But the issue here is going to be what else was offered. Was it just money? Was there other things that were offered? Were there maybe a cut in dates for Kevin Owens? Maybe he's going to get extra time off. Maybe they promised him a title run. Maybe they promised him a bigger cut of his merchandise sales. We don't know. We don't know. But for people to just be like, he's going to be creatively stifled, it's like, I don't know. I don't know about that. How do you come to that conclusion? Interesting bit, though, and I just already thought of it right now, is Sami Zayn. They usually are a package deal, Now, Sami Zayn, I mean, these guys are like the Olsen twins. They're like Tia and Tamara Mowry. You just can't take one of them. You got to take them both. They're a package deal, And I actually like what Sami Zayn is doing right now. I think because Sami Zayn is being very interesting right now, he's rubbing elbows with Brock and Roman. He would be a fool to jump ship right now, but, who knows how long this is going to last. He's probably not going to be in this situation forever, So, we'll see, but it's interesting. This guy says, I would start a "you sold out" chant. I would start a you sold out. You sold out. You sold out. He was already there, man. That's who did he sell out? Who did he sell out to? It's not like he left AEW to join WWE. If he sold out Ring of Honor. He don't want to be a Ring of Honor nostalgia act like everybody else. I wouldn't want to do that shit either. At some point, you get tired of playing the hits. You want to play some new shit. I don't know. This is a very bizarre situation for wrestling fans to find themselves in. They are truly the heels. Here's another one, another maniac. He doesn't respect the business, and I have no sympathy for him being booked into oblivion. There's no... What? He has no respect for the business. Well, look, maybe I'm floored by this nonsense. Where do we get this from? Having respect for the business means you must jump ship to AEW? I don't know, man. This is bizarre. Oh God. Look at this guy. If there's two ROH alumni who I like to see stay in WWE, it's Tyler Black and Kevin Steen. Didn't really care too much about either of them back then, and nothing that either guy has done in Stanford has changed my opinion. Glad to see they won't pollute the waters of AEW. Oh, Lord. the pure waters of AEW with all of this Ring of Honor rejects. Guys who just show up to do the same thing that they've done in other places. What on earth, bro? What on earth? Wow. Another one with the ridiculousness. Very disappointing to hear. He better not complain when he inevitably gets pushed down the card now that WWE have got what they wanted. He gets zero sympathy from me. Another guy. Next round of budget cuts win. Everybody seems to think he's going to get fired. All these people seem to think he's going to get fired. Now, I'm on the Go Owens Go train. Means get him the fuck out of here train. Go Owens Go. Go Owens Go. Buy Owens buy. Buy Owens buy. But he's decided to stay, and it is what it is. But people are really in their feelings about this, and it's embarrassing. It's truly embarrassing. These people are also quite delusional. Man saw that Hook debut and said he can't hang in the big leagues. Hook wrestled Fuego del Sol, who basically just stood still and let Hook do whatever he wanted to do. That was essentially the match. And it was very well done because it was the right thing to do. But come on. I think people have really been on the Hook train a little too heavy. Come on. Relax, my G. Please relax. So this guy, good for him and his family. Bad for pro wrestling. Period. I mean, they talk about pro wrestling like it's some tough fucking metaphysical manna from heaven. It's an event. It's theater. It's a sports theater kind of deal. Like you're overthinking it. You're going too far. Can we please peel it back a little bit? It's just, wow. If this is true, then good for him. He better have gotten that bag. That said, I won't complain about his booking from this point forward. He chose to re-sign knowing the risks and the rewards. Well, I feel the same way about Brian Cage. When he signed to AEW, he had the wrong idea. He thought AEW was fair, that AEW was going to do the right thing by big guys, and he was wrong on all counts. But, it's an interesting thing here. So this guy says, Owens has a family to support. He might not be very happy in WWE. Quote, this is not the end of it, but his source got to be trust me, bro. Who the hell talked to this guy? Oh, let's read it again. Owens has a family support. He might not be very happy in WWE, but many of us do jobs we don't like to take care of our families. The money was obviously the key factor here. When money talks, freedom walks. Freedom. Freedom, 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 freedom. What on earth is this guy talking about? So somebody said, good for him. Wouldn't matter. Probably going to get cut either tomorrow or in January. Wow. Wow. Just genuinely wow. Maybe. Somebody said they're leveraging AEW to get a better deal in WWE, which is the smart thing to do, which is what you should always do. You should always see what you're worth somewhere else and take that to wherever you're going and say, hey, look, this is what I'm being offered. What do you think? What do you think about that? And then you get the real answer. This one's a goodie. God damn it. Why? Not because I care if he went to AEW or not. Just tired of looking at this fucking pregnant fuck on my TV. Good Lord. A pregnant fuck. That's a good one. That's a pretty good one. A pregnant fuck. This is wild. These people they're not in their right mind space, man. I don't know. It's just something about these kinds of things. It shakes them to their core. They're not sure how to react, so they lash out in anger and bitterness. And that anger and bitterness don't work out. It only makes you upset. He can still be friends with all those guys without going to work for them. He doesn't have to do that. I wouldn't want to get my friends to be my bosses anyway. I wouldn't want that. I know my friends. My friends are not responsible dudes. You know, I wouldn't want to be their boss. I wouldn't want them as my bosses. So, you know, that's another thing to consider. Why the hell would you want your friends to be your boss? That doesn't make sense. A lot of these fans are so focused. They're almost preoccupied with the fact that he would get fired. It's almost like, you know, there's wish fulfillment there. Like, they want him to get fired. They want him to fall on his own petard that he signed with WWE and then get released. That's kind of what they want. You know, it seems like, because they're mentioning it so much. It's so much of that, oh, he's just going to get released next month. He's just going to get released next week. He's only going to get fired in 6 months. It's kind of like, wow. He hadn't been fired so far. You know, like he's managed to be under, well, he's under contract in what, 2012? It's been like 9 years he's been under contract and he hasn't gotten fired yet. In fact, the only guy that was, well, they fired some guys with some tenure like Zack Ryder and Bray Wyatt, but they usually aren't firing a lot of the guys who've been around for a long time. A lot of the people that they've gotten rid of is, you know, guys who were pretty fairly new, who, you know, and it says a lot that Kevin Owens is in the same age bracket as Keith Lee and Karrion Kross, except he's already been on WWE TV since like 2013, you know? So it's an interesting thing, man. I think fans are in a weird situation, and yeah, some people are in their feelings, but it's sad to see this is how people are reacting to Kevin Owens choosing to stay put. Stay Owens, stay. That's what he chose to do. And somebody says he's going to regret that. You know what? I don't think he's going to regret it when the checks when the checks keep coming. I don't think he's going to regret it, you know, in the coming years. No matter what happens, whether he becomes world champion or not, I don't think he's going to regret it. You know, it seems to me like he might have actually had a conversation with his wife like a normal person and come to this conclusion like a normal person. I just wish the fans were normal. You know, they have evaded normality like goddamn Barry Sanders in the open field. This is ridiculous, the kind of stuff that I'm seeing out here when it comes to how other people are choosing to react to a life-altering decision. You know, maybe AEW will be there if he gets cut or if something happens in the future. Maybe it won't be. We won't know. But ultimately, he may have made the right decision for himself and his family. I'm sure he consulted with them. His son just turned 14. This is a big deal for him and his clan, man. You know, if you want to feel bad for somebody, feel bad for me. Because I don't want Kevin Owens on TV. I didn't want him. I wanted him to go away. But we're stuck with him. I've had this albatross around for long enough. I guess it's like I guess it is what it is. Guess we're stuck with him. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you guys for your time. I'll talk to you guys later.